Welcome back to the Stadium of Lightweight pitch side. Myself and Danny following Sunderland's first win of the season, and it was all thanks to Job in the end, 2 great goals. But it was almost a different side we saw from Sunderland in the second half. A lot more tempo, a lot more composure on the ball, and really outclassed Rotherham in the end, didn't they?
Yeah, I think that's what it needed in that second half. Really started really well. Second half, I think they had that one-half chance early on, which I said it livened us up a little bit. But after that, we had a good 10-15 minute spell where we were on top. As I say, moved the ball really well around the pitch, and they struggled to sort of contain us really. And it would have been nice to go on and get that third goal. It wasn't to be, but yeah, we finally got off and running. And I think over the course of the 90 minutes, we deserved the win.
Yeah, we'll look back through the action from the game now if we can, and then we'll have a look around the scores as well, and also involve yourselves in #AskDanny. Jack Clarke had a great game down that left-hand side. Here he is working with Dennis Sirkin, but he was a nuisance all afternoon for Rotherham, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, yeah, and I say you keep feeding Jack, keep feeding Patrick on the other side as well, and a nightmare for defenders, driving in, they want to keep on cutting inside you. And he did, and he's mixing it up really well as well, Jack. He is going on that outside onto his left foot as well at times now. But yeah, he's always a threat, isn't he, when he comes inside. But there we go, there, just having a look at it. They're one real and only opportunity in that first half, and they put us to the sword, didn't they? It was well worked down the right hand side, and we can analyse it and break it down. And maybe he's come off the back of Pierre there. He's got to be a little bit more aware if he's going to play in that deeper sitting role of what's going on around him. And he just gets caught wrong side, and as we said at Doffin, it was a heavy touch. I think Luke's crosses it, or Dan Ballard trying to come across on the slide, too late though, and he smashes it past Anthony Patterson. But good reaction from the boys now, as we've seen there, back on the front foot, bodies in the box. Dan Neil does really well, heads it back across, and there's Job there to head it home and get his first goal for the club.
Yeah, Dan Neil deserves a lot of credit there for keeping it alive.
Yeah, Bradley Dack in there as well, trying to sniff it out. It's already crossed the line though. He's trying to get his first goal for the club. But no, I think just, goals aside, I said it there, Job I thought was excellent all afternoon. Being asked as a young boy as well to go and play up against the centre-backs, with back to their goal, it's different for him really. He's perhaps used to receiving the ball facing the other way more often than not, but going up there against, a couple of seasoned centre-backs, but he done quite well, and he puts himself about. He can tackle, he's got good awareness. We said it in the first game against Ipswich, and his awareness for a young boy as well. What's going on around him is excellent. So listen, he wasn't on his own out there today. We had a lot of good, solid performances. The two in there with him. I thought Dan Neil was excellent, getting up and down the pitch all afternoon. Something I like from Dan, playing a little bit higher up the pitch, not trying to control it from deeper. Pierre's in there to do that. Dan's got that licence now to go and join in and cause problems in the opposition's box as well. Yeah,
just looking at another chance there for Jack Clarke there, Danny.
Yeah, that's the one, isn't it, where you say with Jack, he can go on the outside, but he just shifts it. He's got quick feet as well, and sometimes as a defender you probably think, I've got him in a good position here, but bang, he just shifts it, gets that strike away, and keeper's got no chance if that's on target.
Just having a look at some more opportunities here from Sunderland. Pierre Ekwa, what about his performance this afternoon?
Yeah, overall controlled it, I think, at times, and he's just grown in that role really, and towards the end of last season got himself into the team, didn't he, towards when we got into the playoffs. And I think, does he like to play in a 2 or a 3 really? I think at times he can sit there, and he's got Dan and Job ahead of him. But,
and he was, you could say he's learned from his mistakes on that occasion there, Pierre.
Just getting back in, yeah, we said, I think there was another one in the first half as well. Just got to be careful, people running off him in there. He's a young boy at the end of the day, but if he's getting communication from behind him, from Dan Ballard and from Luke O'Nien, what's happening, he's got to be talking. And screening Hugo as well, he was excellent, wasn't he? And there's that second goal now for Job. Early into the second half, we started quite bright. Good link-up play, ball into Bradley Dack there, and he just kills it for him there. And he can go either side, and if anything, he goes to the side where the keeper is. A little bit of cat and mouse there, but he fancies himself. It's a good finish, good firm side foot finish, and that's the difference. So he'll be happy this evening. Got his first goal, followed it up shortly after with his second.
Kind of got a solution there up front with Job at the moment then.
Become a stopgap really anyway. You don't want to see, he won't want to play there all the time. Listen, he's had an effect up there today, but no, I like him in that 8 really, alongside Daniel at this moment in time. He can get forward, he supports the play. He's quite a tall boy as well, isn't he? So he wins a few flick-ons, he puts himself about, as I said there, and he could have had 4 goals. This one here now catches it really well, but it's good defending. It's straight into him really, isn't it? Humphreys, I think it is. And then again, we'll see the other one. He could have had what would have been his 3rd or could have been his 4th, he was Johnny on the spot, wasn't he? In the right place at the right time. And
well, that's what Sunderland's been missing the last couple of weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, but he'll actually be disappointed with the one off the corner, I think, because he's free, nobody's touch tight with him, and it's just concentration really, and he plays through it early, that air shot, isn't it, and comes off his wrong leg. This is it now, I think. Do we see it from this angle? Yeah, that's the one, isn't it? 5 yards out really, and plays through it, doesn't get the contact on it. See it better on this one now. There, comes off his standing leg. So yeah, he could have had a hat-trick, but at the end of the day, he's got himself a brace, and he'll be delighted this evening. But we had a few other opportunities to put the game to bed. This one's difficult for Jack. I think Bradley's played the ball out to him, doesn't really get it out of his feet. See, it goes almost behind him or square of him, and he has to try and fish it from behind him. Half decent strike on it, but it's straight at the goalkeeper.
Yeah, by this point of the game as well, Sunderland were well on top, and there wasn't really any threat coming from Rotherham in the later stages, especially.
No, I think they'll be disappointed at their manager. He made a couple of changes up the top end. Tom Eaves coming on, Coyote as well, but didn't really have an impact on the game, did they? Didn't get any ball into them really, and we've seen the game out. They sort of petered out for them. With a bit of a whimper, really.
Hamir coming on and almost having an instant impact, just wide.
Yeah,
with that
straight
one.
away. It was within 10-15 seconds of coming off the bench, wasn't it? So good power on it. Again, keeper scrambling across there. Maybe he's beat if it's on target. But listen, I think at half time, Tony Moe would have said that a little bit more intensity, move the ball a bit quicker around the pitch, and that's all we did really in that second half. Movement off the ball was good as well. Interchanging, link-up play was good. But we've seen that last season. We know what we're capable of. Lads coming off the bench as well, Alex Pritchard, just settling things down.
Yep.
Lads having to change. Jack went and played on the right for a bit, come back over onto that left-hand side, then Hemir comes on through the middle. But yeah, a bit of relief in the stadium, I think, as well. Finally off and running, 3 points on the board. Let's kick on from here.
Yeah, definitely. Let's have a look what happened around the EFL Championship this afternoon elsewhere. Plymouth Argyle beaten at home by Southampton in the early kick-off. Then was Blackburn Rovers 1, Hull City 2, Bristol City 0, Birmingham City 2, Leicester City 2, Cardiff City 1, Middlesbrough 1, Huddersfield 1, Queen's Park Rangers 0, Ipswich Town 1, so Ipswich's good form continues. Sheffield Wednesday 0, Preston North End 1, Stoke City 1, Watford 0, and Swansea and Coventry City, Sunderland's next opponents, they were involved in a 1-1 draw. It's always hard to read too much into results at this stage of the season, but like you said just before we looked at those results, Danny, that first win here at the Stadium of Light as well, very important, isn't it?
Well, it's confidence as well. It can be fine margins really. You've had a couple of defeats already. Obviously, you put the Crew one in there as well, so it's 3 defeats. Coming in here today, 40-odd thousand. Yes, we've got a young squad. I think the average age is even younger this season, 22.7 or something, youngest in the league. And yeah, if it doesn't go to plan, if we get beat today, this place is coming down on top of them. They'll let them know about it. But we've come through it, and some good football in the second half as well. Scoreline probably say flatters Rotherham a little bit. It suggests the game was tighter than perhaps it was. We see from the highlights there, we had a lot of good chances in that second half to put the game to bed and to make it a little bit more comfortable, I think.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see those possession stats and the old XG as well, because we did get in and around the box quite a lot during the game.
Yeah, I'd imagine it'll be up in the 60s again, possession, maybe 70-odd, I'd imagine there. But yeah, off and running, bit of sigh of relief, and the lads can relax a little bit now and try and enjoy the week.
Well, let's have a look what you've been thinking and saying around the world as we take part in #AskDanny. The first one's from Stephen, who gets in touch and says, what sort of striker do you think Sunderland need to be looking to buy? Tuned in from Lanzarote. I hope you're having a nice time in Lanzarote.
Yeah. Well, I think the ones that put the ball in the back of the net, they're quite handy, aren't they? Cost you a few quid, mind. But
well, that's the thing, though. I mean, I think Stephen's general point, though, is do you go for a young and unexperienced, good pedigree player from the likes of the top 6 of the Premier League? Or do you do something with maybe a proven player at championship level? That's going to probably cost the most. Yeah. Or do you look lower down the leagues and take a chance?
There's options there, isn't there? As you say, we've obviously brought Hemir's come in, 19, isn't he? Mayenda, I think, is 18. Obviously, he's injured at this moment in time. Ross is the experienced one in the treatment room. But as you say there, do you look at maybe top end of League One, someone who's done really well last season? Do we go and try and get somebody out the Championship? Or you said it there, you've got obviously Premier League clubs who maybe have had a lot of young lads there who maybe aren't going to get the game time. Now obviously they're sorting their squads out for the season, so if they're not going to be there, they'll be looking to get lads out on loan to Championship clubs to try and get them some experience.
But those are the ones that happen last minute, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, and I say it obviously comes a little bit of cat and mouse between the clubs and obviously the players. There might be interest from a few clubs. Then say we want to go and try and get somebody. If there's interest from other Championship clubs, we might have to pay a few more quid to try and get them into the Stadium of Light. But between now and obviously next week, I'm sure we're going to see one, maybe two through the door.
Let's see. Let's have a look at another thought here on #AskDanny. Chris has been in touch. Good morning. Watching from Sydney. We'll all be watching Sydney tomorrow morning ourselves. The Lionesses going to the World Cup final. He says, are we watching the arrival of a new Sunderland great in Job? Ekwa could be too. He's getting better and better despite the defensive lapse for today's goal. Did you see anything in a lapse from Pierre for the goal?
I mentioned it just got caught wrong side, maybe ball watching a fraction, and that's all it takes, just slipped in behind him there, and especially when you're playing as that sitting midfield role, the Corey Evans role as it is at this moment in time, but Corey's in the treatment room. And just being aware of what's going around you, and it happens quite quick at times, and that's all it takes there. But he'll learn from it. I'm sure he'll watch it back. They have the other one just on half-time with Rathbone as well, what ran across him there. But in general, he was excellent today, I thought, Pierre. Calm on the ball, composed, used the ball quite well. And he's asking about Job there. Excellent. Said it at half-time, didn't I? I thought he was excellent. The Ipswich game, that first 45 minutes as well. And he's been asked perhaps to play a role what he's not used to as well. You see there early on, I remember that one running in behind. And I think this is when Bradley was actually playing as the furthest man forward for us in the false nine. But he's got good energy, looks an athlete, doesn't need to get up and down the pitch. Him and Dan Neil, I thought, were excellent. It's quite hard to pick a man of the match out today. Jack, Patrick at times as well, driving forward with the ball. Some good individual performances, and as a team as well.
You probably got to give it to Job, though.
Yeah, well, of course, you say that. It's hard to single somebody out, but at the end of the day, he's put the ball in the back of the net twice as well, hasn't he? So, of course, I'm going to go for Job. But just taking his goals out of it as well, he could have had 4. We've seen from the highlights he could have had more. And just his awareness there, good touch from Bradley there into his path. Good composure. Said that in the first game. 17-year-old. I know he's played a few games at Birmingham last season.
And he'll be learning about the game every single minute.
You're always learning. Even in your 30s, you're still learning of what's going on, changing positions. The football's changing all the time. But he just looks like he's adapted really well. Being asked to play wherever he gets asked to play by Tony Mowbray and the coaching staff. They just tweaked it there. I think it was maybe 25-30 minutes in. They perhaps didn't think it was working for Bradley higher up. Job, you go and play up there. Bradley came into one of the 8 positions alongside Dan Neil. But no, he looks like he's enjoying his football as well. So let's see how he goes. It's early days, 3 games into the season, but he looks promising player, doesn't he?
Yeah, a good acquisition to say the least. Let's have a look at another thought on #AskDanny. Comes in from Chris. Why on earth does TM not play Gooch as a centre forward? He's often said this is his preferred position. Watching from Arkansas, USA. Well, it's a bit of a funny one, that, because when we sat down with Lyndon to do the SFC Unfiltered podcast, he still fancied himself as a striker. He's been here a very long time. Maybe played
very played there
once or twice. But he's a great utility player, isn't he, Lyndon? And a great servant to the club. And came on this afternoon and switched on the flanks as well. Yeah,
Lyndon's one of them. He'll do a job wherever he's asked to play. Ask him to play in goal and he'll try his best, won't he? I know the question's been asked. Tony's 20 yards away doing some post-match there, so that's a question you'd have to ask him. Listen, I can see what he's saying there. Lyndon, what would he bring up the top end of the pitch? Well, he certainly brings energy. He'd run in behind, he'd make it difficult for the centre-backs, something maybe they've looked at. And I know, obviously, at this moment in time, we're looking at Hemir as the only real fit striker at the club. And I know he played in the week. I think he had an hour or so against Norwich for the 21s. First game of the season, he came off after an hour or so as well. Came on last week down at Preston. So I'm trying to get him up to speed, and he's learning about the English game. He's a young lad coming from Benfica, so it's going to take him time. Some lads can adapt quite quick and take to it, and others might not. But maybe they don't feel he's ready. So obviously today they've played Bradley up there, then they've switched it and put Job through the middle. Then obviously he's come on later on and almost come off the bench and smashed one in the bottom corner straight away, hasn't he? So they're options, and listen, they're going to be working now. I'm sure the game's been put to bed, and they're going to go up there now and they'll be chatting obviously the board and the recruitment team and thinking, who can we look to bring in? And there's obviously positions there. You're running out of time in terms of getting players in that position. Is Ross going to be fit in the next couple of weeks or so? So it's something they've got to weigh up. But in general, if you look at the team, and I think there's a good core there, and I think that's what the fans are seeing. Some of the football we play is excellent. Last season was excellent with a young team as well, and we're building on that. But it's just that little bit of magic. Obviously, we've lost Ahmad's gone back to Manchester United. He's a difficult one to replace at this level. But if you can get 2 or 3 and who can help us out, I'm sure we'll have a good season.
Let's have a look at the final one. And it says, who was the best striker you came up against? You actually mentioned Tom Eaves, who finished the game for Rotherham. Was he the best striker you came up against?
I'm not sure about that. He was a handful, though. You've seen it there with Dennis. He could put his elbows about. I'd probably say Thierry Henry.
I mean, it's not a bad name to go up against, let's be honest, Danny Collins.
Drogba or Henry. Handful, obviously, in their day, weren't they? So they weren't too bad.
Understatement.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, Van Persie, there's some obviously quality strikers over the years there. You know, say fortunate to play against them in a way, really good experience to play against, and you want to play against the best players in the world, and fortunately I got that opportunity.
Did you get Thierry's shirt?
Yeah, I did actually.
Oh, look at that! Yeah. Look at that! What a great
that maroon one that they wore at Highbury.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah,
it's got some great goals in that, didn't he?
Yeah. So.
Anyway, we move on, and we do move on next weekend. We are down at the Coventry Building Society Arena, otherwise known as the CBSA, for a 3 p.m. kickoff against Coventry. We'll be on air from 2:15 on Sunderland's official Twitter channel. It's a new earlier time, 15 minutes early, so Danny can give you all his knowledge about the opposition, and we can start the show. Remember to go to sfc.com for full streaming details. Sunderland have ended today with a win, 2-1 at home against Rotherham United. We'll see you next time.